What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Battle of Central Europe Season 3. This is going to be Game 2 in the best of 2 between Moscow 5 and Drak here on the HeflaTV Hitbox 1 channel. I'm Mike Loris. I've got Mr. Blackadder here as well, man. That game was certainly very interesting. Do you think Drak have to massively change things up, or do you think they could more or less stay the course?
I don't think they need to massively change things up. Staying the course could work, yes. Maybe not the slider. As far as I've been informed, they tried running it yesterday, and it didn't work then either. But if they do run with the slider, maybe a more aggressive build or an earlier blink dagger to bring that mobility in. Either of those would be options, and of course, watching Eight Mother's positioning might be another thing to mention. While Eight Mother is one hell of a player in his own right, the last game he did get caught out a few times too many.
Yeah, Slaughter is one of those heroes that, as I said previously, you can feel invulnerable while you're playing him. You really have to have a lot of practice with the hero to know exactly how much damage you could take, because sprint is something you don't really have to work with on other heroes unless you exclusively play Mask of Madness heroes, which probably isn't the case for Eight Mother. Regardless, maybe if he just takes a little bit more of a safer hero, like a little bit more traditional hero, then he'll be more at home. And we have ourselves an opening for a second draft. We have Ogre Magi this time being banned out. Along with that, Necrophos, Elder Titan getting a rather early boot out as well. We've been seeing a lot more support Elder Titan nowadays. It works sometimes, and well, if he has a decent opening, if his laning stage isn't terrible, then usually he does quite a bit.
I'll agree to that, but this Razor that's been picked up here for Drak, you said Eight Mother on a more stable or safe hero. This is an Eight Mother hero right the hell here. I'll be very surprised if Eight Mother does not handle this Razor.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty safe hero. It's pretty much the polar opposite of a Slardar. Razor, more defensive, although he does have, of course, ways of being offensive with the static link. He's very difficult to bring down just with the current at the very least. And he will have a very good time in lane. It's very rare that you see Razors losing lanes, especially against what Moscow 5 have right now. Opening with Nature's Prophet and Ancient Apparition, two heroes that, though we do see quite often, are generally picked up a little bit later, as we saw Drak pick up the Nature's Prophet rather late in the last draft. So maybe it's going to be a pseudo-global strat coming out from Moscow 5.
It could be, but if we see a Zeus, I'll be highly surprised. Although it's happened before where I've said there's not going to be a Zeus. I actually think this was a game I was casting with you. There's not going to be a Zeus. Third pick Zeus. It could happen, although I have my doubts.
I mean, it's a good hero against a team that is very soft. And already, Drak have a Razor, so that might just be enough to say no Zeus. But, I mean, global strat is pretty appealing, at least like for viewing and stuff like that.
True, and I suppose you can't run from heaven, but what could we see realistically? I mean, we've got an Ancient Apparition. Mirana, I would think, could be a good pickup here for Moscow 5. And to round out a potential AA Mirana tri-lane, I would say maybe a Shadow Demon or a Dazzle.
A combination like that will be absolutely brutal. I mean, Drak can pick up heroes with swaps and stuff like that to maybe defend against that later on, but any real play stun for Ancient Apparition is going to be killer. And, well, Ogre Magi, Vengeful Spirit already out. Those are two typically some of the stronger heroes to partner up with the AA, but as you said, Mirana can also be another way that they want to go. Nature's Prophet, perfectly self-sufficient, but he does let you play aggressively early on because you can sometimes rely on the fact that you will have a numbers advantage. So it's going to be a Faceless Void for now. Certainly not going to be that global strat, or at least not yet. If Moscow 5 do want to go down that route eventually, maybe, but Faceless Void and Ancient Apparition is a pretty legit combination.
I'd agree to that 100%. I mean, Ice Blast into a Chronosphere is absolutely devastating. Mix into that Wrath of Nature, we could still be looking for that global strat. I mean, Batrider is fairly soft. This still could be a possibility, as much as I have my doubts. And I'm thinking, what can Drak answer with here? I mean, they've got a Batrider. This is going to be... if this was old Drak, I would say this would be an E-skills hero, but not with a team right now. I'm expecting mid-bat, support Venge up in the top lane with that Razor. and my current understanding of what they're going with here. Where do they go? What do they pick to combo with this? With the VS brings negative armor, Razor negative armor. Could we be looking for a flat out negative armor lineup here?
No more Slardar, please. I think we've all had enough of Drak Slardar for this game, but well, for Moscow 5, they're going to pick up a Gyrocopter, so solo faces Void, it looks like, is going to be the order of the day, and Moscow 5 have been doing decently well with the Gyrocopter in the past. They have quite a bit of damage to put into a Chronosphere. As much as I would love to see the global strategy come together with Aghanim Scepter, Gyrocopter call down, I don't think that's going to be
Not gonna
happening, so
happen.
it's probably a distant dream at this point. But for Drak, I mean, they have initiating. They have to worry about Faceless Voids, Chronospheres, but Batrider and Vengeful Spirit together is much better than them on separate teams, especially for the Batrider. So pretty much Drak will have options for opening their fights. They just need a little bit more damage, and honestly, because of the minus armor that they already have, they can go for anyone, especially someone like Mirana, who is kind of on the lower end of the damage department, at least to begin with. She will have help from her allies.
Indeed, and layering stuns. This could technically be a support Mirana, but layering stuns with a VS is going to be very nice. Then a negative armor from the Vengeful Spirit Mirana will absolutely love. And Mirana item-wise, we could be looking for Manta. Diffusal was an old school build that I would love to see again, but other things we could see on a Mirana, early BKB, we could see a support with the drums. Yeah, they've got options, but Enigma will be the ban out here for Moscow 5, which is slightly disappointing to me.
Yeah, Enigma is always a hero that I'm kind of on the fence with. I think usually when you see a Mirana like this, it's safe to assume that she's going to be played as a support. Of course, the difference between support Mirana, core Mirana, isn't going to show itself until the last pick, but Vengeful Spirit, Magic Missile into a Mirana arrow is a pretty direct way of setting up a kill. Maybe not on Faceless Void with Time Walk, but definitely on anyone else from Moscow 5. That's just too much stunning duration and way too much damage to withstand. So I'm more inclined to think that Drak are going to be going for another core hero right now, as Mirana as a support looks pretty good from my eyes.
Here's an offshoot to that idea. Solo safe lane Razor, aggressive tri-lane Mirana with a Shadow Demon and Avenge as the supports.
Yeah, I mean that could certainly work. They could even go like for an even more aggressive support. Like they already have set up for an arrow. If you go for someone like a Rubik's who has a little bit more nuking damage than a Shadow Demon could, fit the bill. Really, any other support with a little bit of damage. Like if it was Moscow 5, I would say Lena, but I mean it would still be good for Drak. It's probably beneficial for them to go down a road like that. Of course, with Batrider Razor, they have all the lane flexibility in the world. They could put the Batrider in the solo off lane if they really want to, put Razor mid. They don't know the mid matchup just yet, and now they should know that it is a... I have no idea. I mean,
Mid
Shaker
lane.
was played by Vigos the other day in the mid lane, but up against the potential for Razor or Batrider, you don't want to have that. So it's probably just going to be a Shaker AA dual support, with mid lane still being handled by, I don't know, I guess Nature's Prophet.
I would actually say that is the most logical thing in this one, unless we see something unorthodox like dual mid or Earthshaker mid. Because Earthshaker mid could work at an absolute push, but the only thing that makes a good amount of sense to me here would be a Nature's Prophet mid laner. But where does this leave Drak? I mean, the Earthshaker can be fairly scary, and it sort of deters the pick of the Shadow Demon. You did say Rubik and a couple of other options would be very good here, especially with the Earthshaker pickup. I mean, a Stolen Fisher, quite the nasty thing, but are we looking for that aggressive tri-lane Mirana? I mean, what other options could we look for here? Could it be a support Mirana and then look for something like a Nortrim for the final pick? I mean, Nortrim would shut down the global strategy to quite the extent.
That would actually be an amazing pick. Grabbing a Silencer right now would shut down all of these wombo combo type skills from Moscow 5. The dream for them is, of course, Chronosphere into Call Down into a whole lot of other ultimates being dumped into it. You can't do any of that when you're silenced. And Distraction Par, they have a lot of stuns, they have a lot of control, but nothing quite compares to a global
Let's
silence in
call it
that
as
regard.
it is. Moscow 5 are going to go for the chrono into the kitchen sink.
hmm
That's how we call it. I mean, they are literally going to try to kitchen sink Drak here.
It's a pretty good combo, man. Kitchen sinks are pretty deadly.
I don't know. I suppose they could be, but the problem with the kitchen sink, once you've thrown the kitchen sink, you got nothing.
Hmm.
Hmm. This
Well,
is interesting.
um, I'm assuming it's going to be a Templar Assassin mid, although the flexibility, as I said, is still there for Drak. There aren't that many tools at Moscow 5 to quickly burn through refraction charges. Gyrocopter has a whole slew of them, but up against a Shaker, Nature's Prophet, Templar Assassin's not the worst pick, but I mean, they're on dire side, and it does offer them a little bit more minus armor, so I suppose they do kind of have a minus armor sub theme going on, but I don't know. It feels like just a perfectly average pick from Drak.
I don't know, I actually quite like this. I mean, you've got to now consider this is a support Marana. You've got support Marana and Avenge, which you already said is quite nice. The Templar will do well about against whatever really is put mid for Moscow 5. Has Refraction, which takes away the majority of that wombo combo kitchen sink style strategy. It's going to eat through pretty much all the charges to really get to the TA if they try to engage with that combination. You've got the Bat Rider there, who TA loves. This feels like a really good combination for Drak, and I didn't consider a Templar considering this. I actually like this. I favor Drak in game number 2. My money is on Drak.
Well, okay. I would say that I favor very slightly Moscow 5. I mean, they have very consistent amounts of damage and a lot of burst on top of that. As long as Tron gets a decent time, and up against a Bat Rider he will, then the Gyrocopter is going to be able to contribute quite a bit. The only weakness I see is Nature's Prophet mid, which traditionally isn't the strongest way to lane the hero. It's fine, but you're probably going to run out of trees since the lane is just that much shorter than the other ones, and it is Vigos we're talking about, so maybe he'll hold down the fort regardless, but I'd just like to quickly point out how terrible this cat looks for Marana. Like, it runs really weird.
Yeah, I'll agree to that. It's not my favorite cosmetic for Marana. But my disappointment with Moscow 5 is now a lot of people consider Vigos the old guard. Vigos to me is the guy you associate with Earthshaker back in Dota 1.
Hmm.
And I'm slightly disappointed he's not on the Earthshaker. I know he doesn't play that role currently, but Vigos Earthshaker was something quite special to watch, and I'm just disappointed.
He played it mid in a game yesterday, and it worked decently well, but I would love to see that again, but up against the potential mid lanes from Drak, unfortunately, that is just the most suicidal way to lane your mid lane, so it's going to be a tough call to actually do that. Bottom lane, we do see rotation. Seal Kid, Hanskin, they are going to test the waters here down bottom, and it's going to be King R to take the first hit, although there are creeps in the way. Hanskin can't line up an arrow, and it's just going to be a magic missile thrown with a couple of right clicks. Unfortunate timings for the Drak side. They probably just can't get the kills if that creep is in the way.
But you've got to consider what Moscow 5 can now do. They're just starting to spam rockets, and it is one of the most obnoxious things Tron can do. A lot of people think, okay, level 1 rocket barrage has the highest alpha damage of any one skill. It can do 330 damage at level 1. But Rocket is just grade A obnoxious. In a solo lane, Rocket wins over Rocket Barrage. Rocket will completely decimate when it gets to level 4 as well, if that will be his first skill to level. It's going to be quite the game in my mind.
And hey, he's level 2, so he's going to have both of them. I mean, they both do a crap ton of damage from level 1. This isn't even like a weird thing to see either. I mean, going for a 1-1 and then maxing out Flat Cannon for a super safe lane farming Gyrocopter is not seen too much anymore, but it has been done quite often in the past. So Tron has a lot of flexibility down in this bottom lane, and although Batrider not getting pressured as much as I really would have thought, Shaker AA can do a little bit at poking and prodding, but you really need a perfect block on the Batrider, and even then, he's just going to Firefly straight over it. So it's instead going to be Hanskin, now running into Unstable. The Earthshaker's not going to do too much just yet, but as long as he's kind of in the area, the Batrider's not going to try to make any plays on the on the bottom lane Gyrocopter. Vigos, well, he's going to get an arrow, though he will dodge it.
Well, the interesting thing here for me is with the build that Tron can go for. I mean, you say the higher points in Flat Hand and less done now, but we do have a bit of a trade going on here. King R messing around with Wern here, but Wern, does he have the Firefly available? Yes, he does. He's not going to get caught at all. He will take a good chunk of damage here. Will get stunned for his efforts. Could be looking for a combination, but Arrow's going to fly in. Not going to be able to go. Threads the needle effectively. And from where we stand currently, one should be able to control this lane. Emphasis on should. He needs to be very careful when he doesn't have his Firefly up. But coming back to Tron for that second, what do you favor in this game? Maxing Battery Assault or, Rocket Barrage, or maxing the homing missile?
Well, he's going to go for homing missile. I think I would have maxed out rocket barrage because I love having that maxed out. It's so much freaking damage, but I think in this particular scenario where your magic stick is always going to be filled up because of the enemy spamming out the napalm, you're gonna have a lot more mana to do whatever you want, and you can use rocket barrage on the creep wave, but the best way to return the damage onto Wern, the best way to actually use the mana on magic stick, is to just get that flat direct damage from the homing missile, and that's going to work out pretty well for him since he will have pretty much unlimited mana. Blow your brain up towards top. He will narrowly dodge death. I think poor man's shield just saved his life there, but we are seeing a couple of fights down on bottom. King R and Wern once again going at it. 2 stacks of napalm now, but there is a Shaker potentially in the area. Mirana's chasing the Shaker down. King R going to find some safety with Tron. It looks like they will both be able to back out. Hanskin with the haste rune is going to tag an arrow onto Unstable, who just ran in a straight line, but Hanskin, feeling the wrath of a level 1 Rocket Barrage, is going to survive at 6 HP. Really? That just happened. Well, I guess 2 Rocket Barrage would have been the correct choice of action. Blow your brain up on top lane is going to be the first blood. Action everywhere, and I do catch a Vigos, though. Now going to start dueling up against Relo. This is a fight that Relo can win because of Meld, although he can't really move anywhere right now. It's going to be Vigos slowly limping away, and Relo should be fine as long as he waits for his opportunity to run, and now he's going to book it. Seal Kid's going to take a little bit of damage from the Treants, but it looks like that should be the end. Drak, they come out with first blood, albeit narrowly.
Talk about action everywhere. That was a very hard one to predict where the first blood was going to be, and there is still many potentials for kills here. You've got to consider Mother very low on health. Same for quite a few of these heroes across the board. I mean, Vigos having to hobble to the well. You've got Relo on the Templar, who's fearless. He's hanging around with no life. And again, Razor could potentially go down here. 8-Mother, this could be a very hard fight for 8-Mother. He's going to go down. Did steal a lot of damage from Blow Your Brain and nearly turn it, but just the presence of Vigos was enough to reverse the fortune on that one.
So the teleportation on Vigos was pretty much guaranteed to get someone. If not the top lane, then it was definitely going to be Relo over towards mid. But Relo's going to continue staying in the mid lane at sub 100 amounts of HP just because he knows that no one is going to be teleporting in anytime soon. Dangerous for sure, but he's not going to be punished for it. It's a 1-for-1 now. Moscow 5 making retaliation, but first blood, well, being drawn by a Templar Assassin is pretty much the worst case scenario. TA, you never want to give any gold, as if you give her a little bit, she will very quickly turn it into big items. It's going to be phase boots for now. Could be going for a Blink Dagger, could be going for that Drums Yasha build, but either way, an early game Templar Assassin with just a little bit of farm can absolutely wreck your entire team.
Speaking of the Templar, Relo needs to be very careful right now. If any creep sees him, he will go down to Wrath of Nature. He does have, there we go, there's the reflection. He's safe for now, but has to respect the Wrath of Nature, especially with Vigos being the threat he can be. Blow Your Brain, going to dodge the arrow, but there's going to be no risk of him going down here, or is there? It's getting a little bit ballsy in my mind, and that is a DD Hanskin, so what is Blow Your Brain doing here? He is actually just going toe-to-toe with that. The Mirana, he does not care about. Now here comes Vigos, going to look for 8-Mother. Do we have Nature's Wrath dropping? Yes, we did, and there's just too much damage. Is this going to be a double kill? This is effectively a double kill for Blow Your Brain. He didn't get either kill, well, he did get one of the kills, but that was incredibly ballsy. Now it's just going to be the bottom lane. This does not stop.
And now Seal Kid getting trapped in by Unstable, but no, you have to move your Treants. Vigos, Micro, come on, let Unstable out. He will do so. Relo with the phase boots. He's going to cut right through them and going to find Unstable. One more tap will kill off the Shaker. Now going to try to go for Vigos, laying down a trap. Straight TP out from Vigos will make his escape. Here comes Blow Your Brain. Maybe teleporting out from the fountain a little bit prematurely is going to be forced to tango up, but regardless, Moscow 5 faces Void just manning up, even with no points in that backtrack. More than happy to fight it out, and that's mostly because they have decided to lane this Nature's Prophet in mid lane. The Wrath of Nature does do quite a bit of damage when you get it this early on. I mean, it is not the highest damaging skill in the game, but man, a 7-minute Wrath of Nature is absolutely backbreaking when you're talking about heroes diving behind a tier 1 tower to try to get a kill on the face of Void. So Vigos coming in big there, and Blow Your Brain is able to make these plays because he knows that Vigos' support will be there sometimes. Obviously, he can't do that all the time, but now that he's a Chronosphere, if he does get into that situation again, he can either just chrono and walk out or just straight fight. Either way, he will be able to survive.
Indeed. And, well, it's when I thought it will happen. Will the next bit of action happen on the bottom lane? No, they're relentless up on the top lane apparently. But from where we sit, it's a very reflective game start to compared to game number one. I mean, Moscow 5 now 5 for 2. I believe we saw this for Drak favour last time round. Could this be a complete reversal? We see Moscow 5 do well and then lose the edge. Well, maybe. Seal Kit does stun out, blow your brain here. Getting all of his damage drained away. He's just going to leap over the edge. He should be safe. Plasma Field going to do a good amount of damage. Arrow going to fly. Does not connect. And, well, poking and prodding at that Faceless Void, but not that easy to kill him.
Oh, it's damn difficult without an arrow landing, and I don't think an arrow has landed a single time this game. You have Magic Missile to set up, which is fine, but unless you're right with the Vengeful Spirit, like literally right next to her, then the enemy team is going to have a little bit of flexibility to try to wiggle their way out from under that arrow. And until then, Mirana has done pretty much nothing for her team. Like, arrow passive pressure is, I guess, nice sometimes, but unless you're getting arrow landings on the Mirana Handskin is pretty much useless right now. Level 6, she'll be able to contribute, but until then, like, she already got out-dueled by Faceless Void. Now is getting chased down, will be forced to leap over the cliff and out into the river to safety, but Gyrocopter unstable in the meantime have been left completely alone. And Drak, you can't leave a Gyrocopter alone. That will very quickly end your game. Blow Your Brain Up on top, though, is going to be put in between a whole bunch of heroes. Arrows once again going to be thrown. This time, it'll actually miss as a creep somehow took that. I don't know how that landed. Now, Chronosphere onto Werne in tower range. Wrath of Nature going to bounce through. That's the death of the Bat Rider. Here comes Unstable with a Fissure onto 8 Mother. We'll be just fine as Reload's going to dive forward. Wants to go for Vigos. Power treads on Nature's Prophet and the juking. How good is it going to be? Looks like he doesn't even need to juke at all. Teleportation more is coming in for Moscow 5. 8 Mothers once again going to use Crowded, this time with a missile to follow up, and also an Ancient Apparition to appear right next to him from TP. 8 Mother is going to die. It's a mega kill for Vigos, and everyone else from Drak are going to run away, but Moscow 5 taking a huge amount of lead in this early game with a 5-kill advantage. Plus, I think they're not farming quite as well, but still they have the net worth lead, and mostly it's because Drak are only working with one support hero in the Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah, this just is not working out for Drak. They need, and honestly, they need more vision. They need more control. But now it's going to be a case of Relo trying to go for a kill here onto King R. They can bring down the Ancient Apparition. That's going to be the start of paving their way out of the hole they've dug. But it's not enough on its own. They need more off the back of that one. Relo gets the kill on a killing spree. He can start building towards his bigger items. He has enough for a flat-out Blink Dagger right now, and that would not surprise me. But are we going to see the aggressive style of Templar with a Blink, or are we going to see something more damage-centric? Maybe buy a flat drum, then go for a BKB?
Well, either way, as long as he doesn't go for Hand of Midas, he's going to be able to hold down the fort, or at least be the hero to hold down the fort for Drak, because while the Templar Assassin was getting the kill on the Ancient Apparition, their Bat Rider was dying down towards bottom. And Bat Rider 030 is nowhere close to a Blink Dagger, is not going to be able to contribute that much. So essentially, Drak are working without a Bat Rider. They're working also without a Mirana. Templar Assassin and Razor are heroes that you can kind of shift the pressure to if you're in this type of situation, but Power Treads and Phase Boots only on these heroes is not going to be winning you the game anytime soon. So these two heroes need to step up their game. Really, they need to start landing Mirana arrows, because even though they are 5 kills behind, they're not like that far behind. 2,000 experience, 3,000 gold is certainly a good deal for 11 minutes into the game, but when you're talking about a Razor and TA, these two heroes can snowball out of control. You just have to get the snowball going. Relo has 3 kills, and maybe just the Blink Dagger is the best way to go, but I don't know. He has to do something with his gold, and it can't be a Hand of Midas.
I'll completely agree to that. Midas would be sealing his own fate, and he's not going to go for the Midas. He gets himself the dagger. That dagger is going to do the work, and it should buy enough space for the Bat Rider to get his dagger and the Mirana to be able to get something. And honestly, Handskin in this game, we've seen him land a single arrow. He actually managed to land one on the Earthshaker down on the bottom lane quite early on. But if we can see him land, I don't know, 50% minimum of his next few arrows, it would quite heavily work out in favor of Drak. That's the problem, though, landing those arrows. If they would have landed, hell, half the arrows that they've thrown in this game so far, they would be at an advantage compared to the 5-kill deficit we currently see against them.
That's kind of the disadvantage of running just Mirana Vengeful Spirit. I mean, yes, you do have a stun into another stun. Magic Missile, level 1, though, doesn't really stun for that much longer, though. I mean, you can level it up. Not really going to help you that much. But The lanes that they're ganking into can't really contribute that much. Lasso into an arrow is possible, but that's later down the line. Oh, top lane, death everywhere. Seal Kid is going to take a very quick fall. Faceless Void now going to try to go for 8 Mother. Teleportation coming in from Vigos. Sprouted up. 8 Mother has nowhere to run. He's going to duel Vigos. It's going to be really slow. Relo's going to blink in. Vigos is going to lose that duel. 8 Mother's going to slip away. And Relo, now he's going to try to go for Tron, but he has to be careful about that Rocket Barrage. Even though it's only level 1, it will do nothing against Meld, so that's a good thing for Relo. And he has a straight blink out, so it's just a straight up kill for that onto that Nature's Prophet. It's a much needed kill as well, especially if Relo wants to go for more. Doesn't have that much mana, however. Hanskin has thrown out an arrow, but no one's stunned, so Mirana still being fairly irrelevant to the team.
The arrow did land, to be fair. That arrow
did.
landed max range, and they just couldn't capitalize off of it. Then again, in comes an AA Ice Blast. This could do some work if it lands on anyone, and unfortunately it does not this time round. And one is ready to try to get something here. But the problem is, what can they actually get? In comes Vigos. He's just going to spawn Treants and just continue this level of pressure. And part of me is wondering, what is Vigos going to build here? He's sat on 2.5k gold. He's hopefully not going to go for a Midas either. I mean, he could go for a Blade Mail and go for that build, but definitely not a Midas, I would hope.
Yeah, I don't think this is a game for Midas on anyone, with the exception of Ancient Apparition, who I could see buying a Midas, and that would be perfectly fine. Even the Blink Dagger on the Nature's Prophet won't be the worst item. It's very differently used from a Nature's Prophet to a TA, but an Orchid or any sort of those int damage items, maybe even a Necro Book, who knows. All these items are opportunities for Vigos to contribute a lot more to this game, and he's already been doing a lot of heavy lifting. Like, involved in 7 out of the 9 kills is pretty damn good. Tron is going to run literally right past 8 Mother and then turn around and get static linked, and now taking a lot of damage. Tron, if he was not sleeping there, he would have been able to get that kill probably, but now Seal Kid's going to get Echo Slam. Unstable, will get the kill on Venge. Hanskin will finally land an arrow, but it's not going to matter too much. He's going to leap away from Vigos, who's going to teleport in, slow down Relo with the Sprout. Faceless Void in the meantime is going to finish off that Mirana. Relo is just going to meld away. Moscow 5 are going to all escape. Unstable somehow still alive. But in the meantime, Relo and Vigos going to once again start their duel. Chronosphere is going to drop onto 8 Mother, and he's going to take a call down straight to the noggin. He's going to go down. Relo still chasing forward for Vigos, and then are you serious, Gyrocopter? This is not the time for this. Yeah. So there's no lasso on the Batrider. He's actually short in mana. Relo's pretty much here all by himself. He's going to get bashed to start things off. Vigos is going to sprout himself and then TP. Lasso is finally there, though, and Batrider will secure this kill for the Templar Assassin. Still not the best fight for Drak. They don't get the Earthshaker, who is so very close to death. These are just small missed opportunities here and there, but hey, they kill off Vigos once again, and off of that, they will go for a Roshan, wherein it does have almost enough for a Blink Dagger, so maybe if the Batrider gets that, then they can make a couple more plays happen, and they could claw themselves back into the game.
They could do, yes, and I'm not going to count them out of this by any stretch of the imagination, but they do still need to be careful. The Earthshaker just shown in that fight what he can do if he gets anything. He got a kill off the back of just an Echo Slam and a right-click with the Fissure. That was it. Sure, Venge doesn't have much in terms of health, but even when it's 3 against 1, the Earthshaker can still do things. And all it takes for an Earthshaker is a Blink Dagger. Now, think about this for a second. We just saw that Ice Blast go into the pit. Imagine if there was a Blink Echo at that point. That could have been a team wipe. There is potential here for Moscow 5 to fight into Drak with surprisingly large amounts of force if they can get their positioning with the Earthshaker. And Drak, they're not out of this by any stretch of the imagination either. I mean, Templar Assassin can fight into this very well. We've seen how quick she can melt targets, and look at how much damage Vigos is taking. One more right click, that's going to be the end of, well, 2 will be the end of Vigos. If he's surely not going to escape. No, he's not. Down goes Vigos to Relo, and while the kills may say 13-7, I'm still having my money quite happily on Drak here. I mean, you're seeing what the Templar can do. Templar is buying the Bat space and time. Bat has his Blink now. While this is going on, we do get a cooldown going off as just trying to farm creeps. But Relo lurking around, he's looking for the kill on Tron right now. He could certainly do some work, but not alone like that. You've got to respect that battery assault. Did I say battery assault? Rocket barrage.
Pretty much same thing. Lots of small ticks of damage, stuff like that. I mean, even though Templar Assassin may be doing a pretty good amount of work, she's sitting on a ton of gold, has a Blink Dagger, has pretty much all she needs. the Razor is not going to be able to contribute that much. Almost Drum 60 minutes into the game with a safe lane Razor farm is not good enough right now. Relo is diving really deep, and this is a great way to get yourself killed if you're Relo. Hanskin's going to take the bulk of the tower shots. However, Relo now is going to have enough time to blink out. Hanskin is perfectly walled off. Here comes Bullet Brain, and Mirana is going to take a very quick fall. Tron is here as well, looking for a missile target. With the Ice Blast flying through, they will see everyone, but I don't think they could chase them down. Wern is going to get hit with the Wrath of Nature. Vigos is going to kill off the Vengeful Spirit up towards top just by himself. Now he also has a TP in. Relo is going to meld and just wait for it, but Boiler Brain looking for Wern, and he's going to catch him with the Chronosphere. I think Boiler Brain can do this by himself, but he's going to get help with the call down. Tron, though, taking quite a bit of damage. 8 Mother has arrived, and they're going to try to go for Unstable. There's still a tier 1 tower here. Unstable is going to get obliterated by that Templar Assassin. Now Tron on the way out. Here comes Vigos. 8 Mother has bit off a little bit more than he could chew. He is capable of fighting because he's stolen so much damage, though, and Boiler Brain is going to take a fall. Vigos bought the Shadow Blade. He's going to go for 8 Mother with the help of King R. Now they have Relo stuck in a Sprout. He's going to once again meld. Do they really not have detection still? Arrow's going to fly through, will connect onto the Gyrocopter, and with the meld damage, Relo's going to turn things around. We'll get another kill on the Gyrocopter. Now the swap back onto Vigos. He's going to hit with the Magic Missile before he can sprout himself, and Relo's going to get yet another kill. No Vengeful Spirit's going to deny the quad to the Templar Assassin, but still TA now up to an outrageous 4,500 gold. You know, what you said makes a lot more sense considering Moscow 5 don't have True Sight. That is going to let the Templar Assassin get a lot more space in this game. Pick up a straight Deso.
It may have sounded a little bit crazy when I said it, but this is why I don't count them out. Relo has had all of the space and time in the world. There's been no detection at all from Moscow 5, which, I'll be blunt, is a bit of a rookie mistake. And that's just given a free Desolator to Relo. What does negative armor love? More negative armor. When you're ahead to get more ahead, that's exactly what Templar's just done. And she's got a DD still bottled. The next fight is going to be an absolute disaster near enough for Moscow 5 if they're not careful.
Maybe they will actually have True Sight, though. I mean, that's always a possibility. If you catch Templar Assassin, she is only working with 1,000 HP right now. And Gyrocopter, even though he does have only one Rocket Barrage, can put some serious damage into that hero. Vigos is hunting for Hanskin, and well, Mirana hasn't had a good track record against the Nature Prophets so far, but against Leap, it's very difficult, if not impossible, to get those kills, so that's not going to happen. Relo straight into the Roshan pit, though, with that double damage rune. That's minus 18 armor onto Roshan, and Relo's going to make short work out of this. So even if they have True Sight, they will be able to kill a TA once. Killing her twice is a tall order, certainly. I think probably the best bet for Moscow 5 is kill everyone else from Drak to Par. Leave the Templar Assassin to last, and then maybe you'll take her out from there on out.
Templar's not exactly a hero you can leave till last, though. It's one of the heroes that can front-load damage the best out of anything. And you've got to consider the short cooldown of Meld, only 7 seconds. In my opinion, they have to deal with the TA up front. And now, right now, we're seeing Wern possibly take a fall here, but no, they've got the Moonlight Shadow up. They should be safe. Then again, we do see some detection actually invested on for Moscow 5. They've got sentries. I don't think sentries are going to be enough at this point. And now Wern's fishing. He wants to try to find a lasso, but I don't think they're going to find anything at this point in time. However, they can go north, and they'll find Tron at that point, as well as Well, they would have found Vigos, but Vigos has just gone bottom. He's going to try to force 8 Mother out. But we've got Ice Blast lurking around. 8 Mother will actually go in. He eats the Ice Blast, and this is not good for him. The Sprout and Chronosphere don't work very well together, albeit, and that's going to buy 8 Mother a little bit of time, but it's inevitable. He's going to take a fall.
That was even with, like, the most poorly executed gank you could possibly ask for. I mean, except for the Ice Blast landing, that was pretty good. It's still the Razor to fall, and it's another weakness in Drak Japar's lineup. Even though Relo is doing so well, he's sitting on top of the net worth chart. No one else is really close to him on his own team. So it's the Templar Assassin show for this game, it seems, unless someone from Drak can really step it up. Wern does have a Blink Dagger. Really, that's all you need for a Bat Rider, and now they're going to try to set up for Vigos. Do Drak Japar have True Sight? Yes, they do. Look at that. Bat Rider with Dust. True Sight's such a luxury.
They also had a double smoke just then. 2 heroes pop smoke the exact same second.
Now you need double True Sight to see them. And, well, they're not going to find anyone anyway. They're going to drop an Observer, unfortunately, right next to an enemy sentry. So they're going to know that this area is, True Sighted up. So they're going to try to avoid that. But, unfortunately, the smoke is not going to do too much. They're still going to rotate around. They still have a potential for an arrow setup, but they're not going to find anyone here. It's going to be on top, where 8 Mother is once again going to be on the receiving end of an Ice Blast. Now the missile is going to fly as well, although this time there's no Chronosphere, so it looks like the Razor will slip away.
Yeah, this rocket will still hurt, though, if it reaches 8 Mother. I mean, this is unpleasant. 375 damage off the one rocket. But meantime, in the jungle, King R does eat an arrow, and this could be a kill on the Ancient Apparition with that Starfall. Doesn't get the double hit on it, but in comes Blow Your Brain. He's just going to start chipping away at Hanskin. This is unpleasant, but in comes Reload to try to even the odds here. That Desolator is just shredding the Faceless Void. Not a single backtrack, and that's a beyond godlike for Reload. Could this be a double? Yes, it is.
So close to the teleportation out, yet so far. Reload's getting absolutely out of control right now, but at the same time, Moscow 5, they lose 2 heroes. Not 2 heroes that they really are comfortable losing. Ancient Apparition is fine to lose. He has a Hand of Midas available to him. They also get a tier 2 tower, though. So, I mean, it's still a trade for Moscow 5. It's not the best trade, but they get something out of it. It's not just a clean sweep to Drak They're going to try to take a tier 2 tower of their own. With the minus armor from Desolator, this tower is going to take quite a bit of damage. 8 Mother with nowhere close to an item resembling Aghanim Scepter is not going to be able to contribute to these pushes for quite a long time. This tower will drop. So ultimately, Drak do take definitively the upper hand in this trade, unless 8 Mother goes down right now. Lots of artillery from long range from Moscow 5. Not quite enough, however, and they're going to open up on Tron up towards top. Werne just by himself can't do this. The Gyrocopter is very quick with the Yasha phase boots, and Werne, though, he's going to stick on him. Tron's going to drop the call down, and he's going to drop the Rocket Barrage as well with Vigos' help and make short work of the bat. Where's the Templar Assassin? Because Drak cannot do anything without this TA.
Yeah, I'm honestly not sure why they invested on the Gyrocopter like that. They know Vigos can be anywhere at any time. The two of them couldn't fight the Gyrocopter alone in my mind, yet they didn't even consider Vigos as a threat there. That was just a misplay, quite a bad one at that. And now we see a 23-minute Midas onto Hanskin. So I'm wondering what the logic is behind that as well.
If Drak take this a little bit later, up against Gyrocopter Void, it's certainly going to be dangerous, but they have initiation, and if Razor gets a BKB, if Reload just doesn't lose his godlike streak for a very long time, I actually don't mind this item too much on Mirana. I feel like support Miranas are, along with Silencers and Ancient Apparitions, just one of the heroes that very heavily benefits from Hand of Midas that is not a core. So if Mirana gets a couple of minutes with this item, then she hasn't really been contributing that much up to this point. She can skyrocket in net worth very quickly if Moscow 5 don't sufficiently pressure the Drak side.
Okay, I can see your point there, but right now we've got a BKB for Reload and another double damage rune. This is not going to go well. Now we get that Chronosphere. Blow Your Brain's trying to escape, but he's going to get out of this one, though DD rune was not used by Reload, and they can just start pushing into...
That's a BKB snipe.
Yeah,
that's backbreaking.
Huge.
They can't push anymore, I don't think.
Oh, no, they can. With that DD rune, they certainly can, but you've got to remember, Chronosphere is offline. They can do this because Chrono is offline, and that Ice Blast only going to hit onto Reload, and he doesn't really care all that much. Does Unstable have a Blink Dagger as well? No, he doesn't. There is no big colossal threat that Drak need to worry about. At least not until Chronosphere is back. And Chronosphere won't be back for 70 seconds, but we do get another swap, and King R will be, whoa, deleted. First game we get it with Lina and Laguna Blade. Now we get it with a Templar Assassin and DD runes.
Well, it does do quite a bit of damage, and Moscow 5 not even attempting a defense there. Vigos and Tron both on the other lanes. They're just going to be pushing those out. However, Vigos, this time spotted out, will straight TP out. Even with Dust, Arrow's going to fly through just where he was, unfortunately not going to connect. Real's going to be pretty upset about the fact that he won't have his BKB, but still, he's 12-0-1. Roshan timer, that's currently unknown. Haven't really been paying attention to the blips on the side, but I'm assuming Drak are going to be 100% on top of that, even though they don't have it trapped in there just yet. They do have a lot of detection. They have Seal Kid with Dust and a gem. I'm sure Batrider still has Dust, and he does, so Moscow 5, they're not going to slip away easily from these types of scenarios. And as I said, even though they take a tier 2 tower, and even though they're not under the best of circumstances, they're just going to try to delay the game. Hanskin has already completed power treads with another 450 gold in the bank. Mirana just needs a little bit more time, and she can be a surprise carry should the game drag on.
True, but part of me feels like they don't need more upfront damage, they just need more control. You've got to consider, if the arrows had been landing, that would have been a hero offline in any of these fights. They have upfront damage from the Templar Assassin. They've got a Razor as well for more negative armor, and they do find themselves an illusion. But imagine what a Scythe of Vice could do for Drak here. A single Scythe of Ice.
It's going to like make the game for them, but no one is in a position to get it. Like, is Mirana going to use this Hand of Midas Gold to make a Scythe of Ice? It's probable, or it's possible, but not probable. Batrider's probably the person you can rely upon, but he just picked up a Force Staff, which I would argue is probably a little bit more useful for the team right now. Scythe of Ice would be amazing if they had someone to get it, but no one's in a position to do so right now. And nope, Tron gonna get finally tied with an arrow. Handskin might have just set up for a kill for the team, although Tron's going to very quickly buff that out. Now 8-Mother and BKB might be taking one too many shots right now. Chronosphere and Blowy Brain is going to drop. Mirana's already dead, however. Relo's gonna jump forward, assassinate the Gyrocopter. 8-Mother still in that Chronosphere is going to be just fine. Blowy Brain maybe not as lucky. Has a time walk, needs a couple more seconds. The long range attack is gonna be backtracked. The stun, no, it's not gonna happen. Faces Void escapes. King R up to the north is also going to make his escape. Drak, I mean, they still get the Gyrocopter for the Mirana, but they might lose a tower on the bottom lane. It could have been so much better for them if just a couple more things went right. Unfortunate times for the Drak side.
Completely agreed. That mass evacuation was absolutely beautiful to see from Moscow 5, and you still do have King R lurking around up here. I mean, he sort of got caught short without a TP right now. That's not where you want to be, but now Vigos comes in, he looks for the Batrider, doesn't quite finish it off, and all of that damage getting stolen by 8-Mother. He loves this, but there is some good damage coming through from the AA. Does land the Ice Blast, but there's no hope for Vigos here. He's going to go down, but does have a buyback, and if there's one thing that I've come to expect from Vigos, he is the type of person who will buy back just to snipe. And now they realize where King R is, and he's in a bad way. He'll go down, and double kill there for 8-Mother. That's exactly what we needed to see in game number 1 of this series. Just having the extra gold for these items is just doing him all the world of good. And he now has that BKB, so where do you go from here for the Razor? I'm thinking Aghanims.
Yeah, Aghanims is probably the most secure way that you could possibly go. Again, any way that you could help the Templar Assassin is going to be fantastic, plus makes himself extremely bulky in the process, which is never going to be a bad thing either. So Aghanims, I expect, is going to be the pickup from Razor. And Mirana, Hand of Midas Gold being used to pick up a Medallion. I don't really know how I feel about, Hand of Midas into Medallion, but hell, if you're going to be in this game as a support hero, Medallion is probably the best thing that you could contribute to the team. The minus armor from Drak is going to get extremely scary. It already has been extremely scary. It's going to get even scarier as this item is picked up, but we see an equally scary item, even a little bit more so, I would say. Scythe of Ice on Vigos. So Shadowblade into a straight Hex, and that's most of the time going to be a free pickoff.
A free pickoff is going to be a good thing, though, and just getting those pickoffs, if they can manage it, they're going to be paving the way for themselves. But we see them all lurking around the Roche pit right now. Roche, the big man, is going to be up in less than a minute, and with Aegis potentially with an Aegis as the next order of business, this could work out quite well, but no, top lane, it's going to be a completely different thing. Sealkid will swap out defensively to try to buy some time, and one will try to grab Tron, but they're not going to be able to get too much on the back of this, at least until Relo shows up, and Relo shows up in a big way. Start shredding people with the help of that Razor. And can they get anything more off the back of this one? No, everyone's evacing, and who is still standing? They've got 2 in the mid lane, both the supports, that they could go and hunt, and the other option is they can try to go for Tron, and he ran away fairly quickly. He didn't really want anything to do with that. And in my mind, this is an opportunity for Drak to go for the tier 2 on that top lane. They could force that if they wanted to, or even maybe that mid lane tier 3 if they have the ability to do so. And with the back of a DD rune Relo once more, they think they could.
How does this guy keep finding double damage runes? I don't know how this is possible, but every single time I see this Templar Assassin, she's packing a DD, and well, it's certainly going to help her if they do go for this mid lane push, and it looks like they will. They know that there's no Chronosphere available, and there's no Aghanim Scepter on the Razor, so this pushing is going to just be the Templar Assassin's damage, but with the DD, she will be doing quite a bit. Moscow 5, they also don't have a Blink Dagger yet on the Shaker. This is actually getting incredibly late for Shaker not to pick up a Blink Dagger in this game. You would expect it by 30 minutes, absolute maximum. Unfortunately for them, they don't have a creep wave to work with, and Vigos can even do some creep cutting if need be, so Drak can't really get that much done here. They will fall back as bottom lane, top lane, not exactly in the best of circumstances, but Roshan has respawned, and Templar Assassin can make short work of that, even just by herself. With a lot of minus armor support from her supports, it's going to be even faster.
I'll completely agree to that. And I now quite worry for Drak, because they've been grouping up and fighting very heavily. You were saying that it's late to not have that Blink Dagger. Important thing is Earthshaker now has that Blink Dagger. Sure, I feel before he's a big threat, he needs level 2 at least on the Echo Slam, but we're looking for a Roshan fight right now, and we're seeing convergence on two sides. Tron and Vigos, they want to get involved here, but in comes that damage, and they obliterate that Faceless Void. There'll be no Chronosphere in this one. He can't buy back either. Hanskin will, however, go down to the Gyrocopter, but it's a double kill up for Relo. He manages to find the Ancient Apparition. At the end of the day, 2 for 1, quite nice there for Drak Power, especially if they can get a Roshan off the back.
And they definitely will be able to. Templar Assassin, as I said, can do it by herself. With a lot of help from her allies, this Roshan is not going to last very long. Initiation from Wern, showing that even though Batrider may not have a lot of net worth, he still can do exactly what the team needs him to do. Now Relo has an Aegis 1602 on this Templar Assassin. And Moscow 5, they just get out-initiated. I mean, this game is eventually going to come down to, or to some extent, who gets initiation on who. A jump in from a Faceless Void into a Chronosphere can instantly win fights for Moscow 5. Whereas conversely for Drak, if the Batrider does the exact same thing, well then it's going to go in the exact opposite direction. And just the additional vision that Drak had over the Faceless Void proved to be the difference there. If Faceless Void got a Chronosphere off, then things would have gone a lot differently in that last fight.
I'll agree with you there, but now we're seeing massive boots of travel come up for Drak, and I'm sort of wondering why we're not seeing an MKB on Relo, considering you look at the flip side of the coin and you have Tron, who is beginning to get phenomenally scary. Butterfly, Yasha, Dominator, that's a Manta and a Satanic in about 7 minutes time maximum.
Oh, Relo. Well, he sees Vigos, and he's on the hunt. Vigos has a Shadow Blade, but there's a gem on the Batrider. You cannot escape from Relo. Batrider's going to steal that kill. Vigos is down for a minute, and yet Tron has been kind of in the background. He's been throwing out call downs occasionally, but we haven't really seen him just sit in the middle of the fight with that Butterfly and do everything that Gyrocopter is really expected to do as far as right-click damage output. I'm sure MKB is going to be the last item for Templar Assassin. It's either that or a Butterfly, either of which will serve the Templar Assassin very well. But even though they don't have that item, they still have the Aegis, and Moscow 5, this might be a chance for Earthshaker to surprise with the Blink Dagger, although I think it might have been spotted out already. They have both Blink on the Shaker and Chronosphere, and Blow Your Brain going to walk straight into 8 Mother, and then walk straight out. 8 Mother popping the BKB, now they're kind of grouped up. Chronosphere opportunity is certainly here for Blow Your Brain, and no lasso. Blow Your Brain's going to get initiated upon one more time. Relo and the BKB is going to make short work out of that Faceless Void. The jump in from Batrider, absolutely backbreaking. Now the Melee Rax is in a lot of trouble. It's going to go down because Moscow 5 have no way of initiating. The Earthshaker looking for an opportunity will jump in for an Echo Slam only onto Relo. He has an Aegis. He doesn't give a damn about that Shaker. And now the Meld hit is going to annihilate the Earthshaker. Relo single-handedly, well, taking that team fight, and that's going to be GG. Moscow 5 don't have anything else.
The power of a Templar Assassin against a team that just cannot stand versus that kind of physical burst. Negative armor at its best right there.
Man, Templar Assassin just delivering so much. What was that score at the end? I'm going to see it in just a little
22
bit,
to
but
24.
My God, that's most of the kills. Like 21 kills. That's most of the kills in this game have been because of Relo, and he just stepped up in a huge way. It's ultimately going to tie the series with Moscow 5, guys. Drak taking this game number 2, Moscow 5 taking game number 1. We're going to be following Moscow 5 as they next progress in the Battle Central Europe. I think there might be a couple of issues with the next game, so I'm going to update you guys as I figure out what's going on. But I'm Mike Loris. I've been joined by Blackadder for these 2 games. Do you have any final words, man?
Well, it was one hell of a game, and I look forward to seeing more out of Relo. Certainly, he did impress me in that one. I mean, the strength of the Templar, that was beautiful to watch. But I look forward to seeing more from them. For
sure, me too. This, guys, has been Battle Central Europe Season 3. You can buy the ticket in the Dota store right now, $5, or however that is, however that much is in euros, 3 something. I have no idea. You get an amiibo set with it, so pretty sweet investment there. So check out the ticket, purchase it if you want to. We're going to be moving on to the next set. Should be very soon, guys, so don't go anywhere.